a.m. GMT -3. It's our final GA, guys! Brace yourselves, though. You never know how long it'll last. First up on the agenda, roll call. Nelson.
Hello everyone, my name is Nelson John, IVSA Expo. IVSA Belgium, IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina,
Here.
IVSA Brazil, IVSA Colombia,
Present.
IVSA Croatia,
Here.
IVSA Czech Republic, IVSA Denmark,
Here.
IVSA Egypt, IVSA France,
Here.
IVSA Germany,
Present.
IVSA Greece, IVSA Indonesia,
Present.
IVSA Ireland,
Here.
IVSA Italy, IVSA Latvia, IVSA Mexico, IVSA Morocco, IVSA Morocco, IVSA Peru, IVSA Philippines, IVSA Serbia, IVSA Slovenia, IVSA South Africa, IVSA South Africa, IVSA South Korea, IVSA Switzerland, IVSA Taiwan, IVSA the Netherlands,
Present.
IVSA Trinidad and Tobago, IVSA Tunisia, IVSA Uganda, IVSA UK,
Here.
IVSA USA,
Here.
so our quorum for today stands at 54.90%. Okay.
Wonderful. I've been told I said perfect too much, so from now on I'll be saying wonderful. Next up on the agenda, nominations for 73rd IVSA Congress. We've already had nominations from IVSA Peru and IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed and will be reopened again in Slovenia. Okay. Okay, then the chair will now entertain a thing. Seeing that it is the first time I'm chairing the GA, obviously I make mistakes. So I forgot to table elections, which is what you're supposed to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pretend I tabled it, and we're just going to continue on with our lives, because we've all had way too little sleep to make a thing out of this. So the chair will now entertain a motion to untable elections. Daniel. Any discussion on untabling elections? Any objection? Elections are untabled. What we're going to do is we're going to open the elections for Trust Secretariat, and then we're going to announce results, and then we're going to table them again, and this time I won't forget, and then we're going to come back to you with the results later on during the GA. Can someone from the election committee come up? Woo! Hello!
I'm the only one with it.
Okay guys, are you ready? Election results. So we had 28 MOs present, so that means 56 votes. 2 voting cards were not used because of unknown reasons. 2 voting codes were used twice and are thus invalid. So that means 52 valid votes or 50. It depends if they were used or not. Due to no delegate left to vote as one or more were nominated. So, let's go. Let's go. First off, we have committee coordinator. We have Catalina Katic. She got 26 votes out of 50. And never mind. Anissa. So the next one, committee coordinator for the next term will be Catalina Katic.
Congratulations, Karina, for being elected as our new committee coordinator. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, for official reasons, the chair needs to announce it to the GA, so that's why we're saying it twice.
So next up, we have DAD, also known as Development Aid Director.
Daddy.
So Ahmed was running. He got 12 out of 50 votes. He was from IVSA Egypt, obviously. And Hacha Saidi, she got 38 out of 50. Sue, your next DAD will be Hacha!
Congratulations, Hacha, for being elected as our next Development Aid Director.
Okay. ERO. So, we got 2 people running again. Edison Brown, he got 40 out of 50 votes. And Loren, he got 10 out of 50. So, the next ERO will be Edison.
Congratulations, Allison, on becoming our next External Relations Officer. Look at you sleeping.
So pretty. ready. So next up is MOD. So we had running Alejandra, she got 252 votes. Then we got Sean, he got 8 out of 52 votes. And Dana, she So, ERC. We again had 2 people running. So first off, there was Carol, she got 20 out of 50. And then we have Sasa, she got 30 out of 50.
Congratulations, Salsa, on becoming our new public relations coordinator / old.
So, SG, as in Secretary General. We had 2 people running. First off, we had Chase, he got 40 out of 50 votes. And
Congratulations, James, on becoming our new Secretary General and winning the Battle of Ireland.
Treasurer. So we had 2 people running, and it was John, who got 32 out of 50 votes. And one
Congratulations, John, on becoming our new treasurer.
I'm going back to work.
So, because we now announced all the exco positions, you already know who didn't get exco, and since a few of them are running for secretariat or trust as well, we will now open, or I move to open the elections. I open the elections now for secretariat, trust, and because sadly, we made a mistake yesterday. We forgot that there was someone else running for the Animal Welfare Committee. We will open this one as well. So I hope you have fun voting. See ya.
We will open elections for half an hour. Susanna?
Susanna, I can see the kind of information. When are the regional rep going to be announced? The winner.
As soon as you're done voting with the Secretary of Trust, we will announce everybody.
Okay.
Because that one was important because now we have to. Those were important. Okay. Kirsten Abraham, IVSA alumni. So we just announced Exco because it was important, so we can open the next elections. But we have already the results, it's already done, so as soon as we know who is trusted, who is secretary, we will announce everybody. I know it's suspenseful, just bear with us a little more.
All right. Then up next on our agenda, oh my gosh, so many minutes. Marina.
Martina,
I know I still need to table them.
Martina Marina, based in Indonesia, point of information that I am the voting delegates for Indonesia, and I am also running for the secretariat, but I still can vote for secretariat, so what should I do? Because I'm not supposed to vote for secretariat. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for mentioning that.
So, Yuri, IVSA Exco. So in case you are running for secretary, it happens to be the only, and happens also to be the only voting delegate, the vote of your country will be The option of you will be excluded from the results. If you vote on you or if you don't, it will not count as an option in the spreadsheet at the end.
Katarina?
IVSA USA, Katarina Fielding, IVSA USA, sorry. Are both of the numbers for elections supposed to be numbers? Because I don't have numbers for the first one.
Yeah, so this happened. You receive a second email with both numbers a few seconds afterwards, so if you could reload, I believe 2 of the hands were because of that. So if you reload the page, you will see that you have 2 codes, you can use them. Sorry for this, guys, I'm quite sleepy yet.
Were there any other questions? Or has this now been resolved? Seeing no hands raised, I assume the matter is resolved. The chair will now entertain a motion to table elections. Anna.
Anna, please, IVSA Germany has a move.
Thank you very much. Next up on the agenda, European Association for European Veterinary Establishment Presentation, EAVE. Pierre? Will you? Yes.
So good morning, everybody. I know that many of you are interested about the advantage to be graduate from an accredited school. And few of you are also interested to become an EasyVet expert to visit schools in Europe and abroad. So I will briefly summarize what is EVE and our evaluation system. So just a glossary to be clear for you, the European System of Evaluation of Veterinary Training, we call it EasyVet, is organized by the European Association of Establishment for Veterinary Education, we call it EVE, together with the Federation of Veterinarians of Europe, called FVE, in order to visit veterinary education establishments, school, faculty, etc. We call it VEE, in agreement with the standard operating procedure, called SOP, in order to see if they are compliant with 55 standards and if the students are supposed to acquire 38 day one competencies. So, EasyVet is a long story, and we do evaluation since more than 30 years. And as you may know, EasyVet and EVE is the biggest accreditation body in the world. So far, we have more than 100 VEEs in 36 European countries which are members of EVE. More than 10 VEs in 9 non-European countries are associate members, and several VEs are candidate members, and so are in the process to becoming a full member. So in Europe, all these establishments are regrouped in 8 regions, except Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. As you may understand, we cannot put them in one single region. So we will need to evaluate how to address this issue in the future. So we have also non-European members, 5 VEEs in Japan, and then Tunisia, Morocco, Israel, Jordan, Egypt, Brazil, Thailand, and Indonesia, and several additional ones are candidates to be a member. So you need to know that we focus on undergraduate studies and not on postgraduate studies, and that everything is based on SOP, which are regularly revised. And IVSA has received the draft for the next revision of the standard operating procedure, and we have received your comment, and your comment have been included in the next draft, and you will receive them during the second loop of consultation before final action. So there are many standards for accreditation, and they are subdivided in 10 areas. Is the objective, organization, quality assurance, finance, curriculum, facilities, animal resource, learning resource, and then important area, of course, is student admission, progression and welfare, is student assessment, and finally, it's academic staff and the research activities. Of course, I will not list here for this short presentation all the standards, just a few ones. In agreement with the EU directive, there must be a list of subject, which is the input, and a list of day one competencies, which is the output. So subjects are subdivided into 5 categories: basic science, clinical science, companion animal, clinical science, food producing animal, food safety and quality, and professional knowledge. On the opposite, so day one competencies are the output, is the learning outcome, is what you're supposed to be able to do and to know when you are graduating from your VEE. Sometimes it's just to be able to understand things, or to demonstrate your knowledge, or to implement it, or to perform surgical act, or to develop procedure, to report cases, to communicate with your colleagues and clients, to advise, and to promote One Health, biosecurity, welfare, etc. So these competencies include knowledge, which, as discussed yesterday afternoon, include access to relevant database, skill, and attitude. Communication is more and more important in veterinary practice, and as you know, there are more and more big groups, and it's crucial to be able to work together with colleagues, with technicians, and with clients, of course. Then in standard 3.5, it's important to know that for the clinical training, there are 2 different ways to do it, 2 additional ways. The first one is the core clinical training done under the close supervision of academic staff. Most of the time it's done intramurally in a VTH. But in addition to that, there is what we call extra practical training, which is devoted to enhance the experience, professional knowledge, and soft skill of students. Standard 4.3 concerns the facilities, which of course must propose safe hands-on training of students, welfare of animal, students and staff, biosecurity, and as discussed yesterday, we also need to take into account environmental sustainability. Standard 4.4, the PEEs must have a teaching hospital with emergency services 24/7. This is crucial. Indeed, many young graduates will start to work in the clinic and do emergencies. So it's essential to be able to be well trained upon it. In addition to that, it's an ambulatory clinic which should allow to visit farms, to think about health management, and for the BEEs which use other hospital or bonded practices, it's important to know that all these units must be compliant with the standard, exactly the same as the intramural VTH. So standard 5.1 is the animal resource. They must be sufficient for training the student It must be healthy and diseases. Animal, first opinion and referral cases, different species, different type of disease, cadavers and other material of animal origin. So the expert will also check for learning resources. As you know, this is more and more important since e-learning has been largely developed during the COVID pandemic, and the same as discussed yesterday about skill labs, mock clinic, role play, and which play an essential role in the training of students in order to implement the concept never the first time on a live animal. So in this learning resources, as you know, digital tools are becoming more and more important. And the reason is simple: they are more rapid, more efficient, and more accurate for a lot of tasks. They are required by clients who are well aware about these new tools. They are imposed by law. The law imposes that you use the best mean for the diagnosis. You are not imposed to about the result, but you must use the good tools. They are essential for big data management, cost-effective. Usually they are cheap. And you know this, you see in this slide, a new sequencer, which is 100 times cheaper than the previous sequencer, and which could be used in the field in the future. So standard 7 consists of the admission of students. It's important that the number of students admitted must be consistent with the resource, the staff, the facilities, and the caseload in the clinic. And this is often a problem in some schools which accept too many students, and there are not enough clinical cases for the hands-on training of the students. Standard 8.5 concerns the assessment, and the main problem is the assessment of the acquisition of these 38 day one competencies. So how to do that? As you know, the training is usually subdivided into 4 groups: theoretical training, then the skill labs, then it's hands-on training, intramurally on healthy and then diseased animal, and this is enhanced by hands-on training and extramurally during extra practical training. Assessment, as discussed previously, should be done on different approaches: written, oral, practical, objective, structural, clinical examination, clinical, etc. So, as you know, in many VEEs, the student use a logbook in order to record the competencies which have been first taught, then completed in skill labs, then completed in animals, and finally, last but not least, assessed, or by the academic staff, or by a qualified person. Standard 9 concerns the staff. It must be enough staff with appropriate qualification and skill, no doubt about that. And the staff must be evaluated on a regular basis, and students must be involved with the evaluation of staff. And the VEs must demonstrate that it takes into account the comment and suggestion from the student. So, speak about EasyVet and the evaluation procedure. There are different types of visitation. The first one is a preliminary visitation, when a new VE wants to become a member of VE and want to enter the system. So just 2 experts which visit the VE during 2 days, right, in order to be sure that the school is well aware about the standards and the day one competencies. Then, usually 1 or 2 years later, there is a full visitation. You see here, it's a team of 8 persons, 8 experts with 1 student. And the student has the same power as all other members of the team. So So the student is a voting member of the team, and this full visitation must be done every 7 years in all VEEs which are member of E. Then the final decision is not done by the visiting team, it's done by an independent committee. We call it EGOV, and this independent committee is composed of members from EVE and from FVE, and it makes a decision, of course, based on the report, but EGOV may change, may amend the report. If there is a problem, there are deficiencies, they are non-compliant with one or several standards, then the VE may immediately correct them and ask for a revisitation. This is just 2 persons who will visit shortly, 2 days, the VE to check if the major deficiencies have been fully corrected and if an ongoing process is in place to correct the minor ones. In addition to that, the VE must propose an interim report 1, 3, and 5 years after the full visitation in order to avoid what I call the Hollywood effect. And you know, some faculties are perfect during the week of visitation, and then after it's like Hollywood, they close everything, some staff are sacked, and the caseload suddenly decrease, and the number of students suddenly increase. This is unacceptable. Of course, this doesn't happen not anymore today because of this interim report, which are there to see what about the EasyVet indicators and what are these indicators. The VEEs must fill in an Excel file with data from the last 3 academic years, with a lot of number of staff, number of students, number of hours of clinical, practical, theoretical training, number of caseload, etc. And then the Excel file will automatically calculate the 22 indicators, which are ratios. For instance, the number of companion animal patients seen in the VTH divided by the number of students graduating annually. Because the more students you have, the higher caseload you need. And that's obvious. It's different when you have 20 students per class, like in some country, or 350. It must be an adaptation. And then the value of the VE arrive in the first column, and it will be compared to the median and the minimal value, and here you have the balance. And when you have a red color appearing and a minus, then it's a problem. And then the expert will analyze the explanation and will see if there are compensation to this negative value. So to finalize, everything here is available on the website. We are a full, transparent agency. All results of evaluation after ECOG decision are on the EVE website and must be on the VE's website, even when the evaluation has put forward some deficiencies or some non-compliant. So I invite you to visit the EVE website. It's open to everybody, and there you will see the SOP with all annexes. Everything is well described there, and then of course I am there to help you to understand. Finally, a key question regularly asked by students: why to be graduate from an accredited school by EVE? In fact, it's not imposed by law, but as you may know, quite all European VEEs are members of EVE and try to be accredited. Why? Because it's a really, really huge bonus for the student, for the access to veterinary practice. In some countries, for instance like the UK, you are not allowed to enter as a vet for an internship, for practice, if you are not graduated from an accredited VEE. It's also requested for applying for a residency program, which is essential within IVSA to become a specialist in one specific discipline or in one specific species. It's also requested for some academic, official or private tenures in some countries, more and more. And of course, it's important if you want to be involved in some international project like COS project, Erasmus Plus project, etc. So if you are interested by that, and if you are in a VEE which is not yet member of EVE, you should encourage, especially your team, to apply for it, and it's quite easy to become a member. You just need to send a formal request to pay the fee, which are very low, to complete the preliminary visitation, and then after a year or two to complete the full visitation. And if the fee is compliant with the standard, then the fee will be fully accredited with a lot of advantages for the graduate student. So never hesitate to contact the EVE office or to contact myself, and if you need further information about the accreditation process or about you becoming an easy event expert. Thank you for your attention.
Are there any questions for Pierre from AAVE? Next up on the agenda, the Easy Vet Visitation Program. Anya? Thank you. So it's Easy Vet Visitation Program. Just to correct it, I will show you later how it's supposed to be spelled. Yes, like this, up on the slide. So I would like to briefly first update you about another partner event that I have attended, which was Easy Vet Visitation in Pisa, in Italy. And then we'll have more information about this program and how you can become the Easy Vet expert. So this year in April, 4th to 8th of April, I have been part of the Visitation Commission as an observer, as IVSA president, during one of the visitations in the University of Pisa. And there was also another expert, student expert, Diana Teixeira from IVSA Portugal, present in the team. So what we have been doing during the visitation, basically we visited all the facilities of the University of Pisa, meaning the veterinary teaching hospital, the veterinary teaching farm, the museum, as you can see, another museum. We discussed many different matters with the professors of the University of Pisa. We literally evaluated every part of the curriculum, had a conversation with staff, had conversation with students, because also me and Diana, so the student experts, were there to discuss how, from students' perspective, the education in the university looks like, and bring some of the information to the visitation team. And then at the end, we sit together with the team and we created the final report from the visitation. And as Pierre have explained it before, we check if everything is compliant and if the university can be accredited or not. And basically, it was very interesting work. It was a couple of intense days. Pretty much like IVSA Congress, we didn't sleep much. We just visited the university, we worked a lot, and we also had great time together. So it's definitely worth becoming Easy Vet expert and joining those visitations, because it's also a great learning opportunity, but also fun, because you get to know the university, you meet with the experts, you have some nice dinners with them, especially in Italy. They fed us really well, you can imagine. So basically, this is my experience with the visitations, and again, I would like to highlight that every IVSA members from EVE Accredited School in Europe can become an Easy Vet expert. If you join the team, your travel and accommodation and everything will be reimbursed by EVE, so it's very easy to become the expert and have a great learning opportunity about how the accreditation process looks like and learn more about that specific university. So yeah, then we will play a video for you, Merle. Could you help me with that? so that they can get to know more about the Visitation program.
The European system of evaluation of veterinary training creates standards for veterinary faculties to ensure a good quality of veterinary training. The main objective of the ESCVT accreditation system is to evaluate if the professional qualifications provided by the veterinary educational establishments are compliant with the relevant EU directives. Each faculty must be visited by an EAEVE-appointed visitation team. This visitation team is composed of 8 visitors, 1 expert in basic sciences, 1 expert in clinical sciences and companion animals, including equine and exotic pets, 1 expert in clinical sciences and food-producing animals, including animal production and herd health management, 1 practitioner, 1 expert in food safety and quality, including veterinary public health, 1 expert in quality assurance, 1 ESCVT coordinator, and 1 student. So this is where you come in. If you want to apply, it is required that you are either in your final or pre-final year, that you study at an EAEVE accredited university, and that you can speak English fluently. When you are selected, you will be eligible to participate in a visitation from your pre-final year, up until 1 year after your graduation. Once assigned to a visitation, you will be required to do an online training module. And I already hear you asking, will this cost me anything? The answer is no. All travel and accommodation are covered, so you can fully focus on evaluating the faculty to the best of your ability. The visitation itself takes place over 5 days of normal academic activity, so you will be able to see and experience what veterinary training looks like at that faculty, as well as connecting with the local students. Maybe you'll even learn something new in the whole process. So enough of me. Let's hear something from the people that are actually involved in the visitation.
Well, I'm back to Portugal after my easy visitation, and it totally exceeded my expectations. Everyone received me with such kindness and was always able to help me anytime. It was really perfect.
Well, hello. We are very delighted. I'm here to maybe give you a flavor of how really, really important it is to have students as part of our team.
I think that the role of the students in the visitation team is really unique. They see the veterinary program in their experience, and they feel all the things that are critical in a very unique way. So they can pick up problems that we don't feel when they are there. The students have to be heard from other students, so it's going to be really a peer review.
As a student, I think having a student equality is a great opportunity for us to be sure that our point of view will be expressed. Yeah, it allows us to be sure that the point of view that we have on the school will be respected.
It's very important to bypass all the point of view going from the student to the professional.
I'm really happy to know that students can find their concerns. The concerns that they shared with me, they are all addressed in the visitation report, and this makes me really proud.
You yourself will find out how amazing it is to learn about new people, new schools, and the importance of the accreditation procedure.
As a IVSA student, I think it's an opportunity to have a committee coming from all around the world in our school in Lyon.
I mean, it's an amazing opportunity to do your part. You will increase your network, you will learn more about educational specific aspects that you can actually use to help your university improve. And you won't have to worry about any expenses because they are all covered by fee.
And also the accreditation allows us with the IVSA member to make exchange easy with other people from other students or from Europe.
It's fun. it's really fun because you see different people, different way of doing things, new things that you can then export in your school, and then you can also use in your career.
I would highly recommend this program to all the veterinary students that would like to improve the veterinary education worldwide.
Join one of our teams.
I think you should come and be part of the Visitation.
I'm sorry I closed all the stuff. Kirsten Abraham.
Kirsten Abraham, IVSA, just okay, 3 responses are missing, so please make sure you vote so we can close them. 10 minutes to go.
Thank you. The chair will now entertain a motion to stand at ease for 2 minutes. We're at ease for 2 minutes. I'm going to quickly get my presentation back up. I'm very sorry. Calling the chapter at 9:55 a.m. Brazil time. Then we can now further continue with the agenda from G1 onwards. All right, then the chair will now entertain a motion to untable the agenda point on election of the financial report auditors. Anna?
Anna, please make IVSA Germany as a move.
I'm glad you're paying attention. You're doing really well. You see, you get commended if you pay attention. I don't just call people out. All right, any discussion on tabling this agenda point? Any objections? Agenda points untabled. We will now elect our financial report card auditors. Are there any elections for financial report card? Are there any nominations for financial report card auditor? Yes, Bailey.
Bailey Gossamer, IVSA USA. I am nominating James Caligari for this position.
I think, well, I know that's out of order because the financial report auditor is not allowed to be a current or past EXCO member. Yuri? Right.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Research IVSA Exco. Thank you. We will wait for what our parliamentarian says. In the meantime, are there any other nominations? Yes, Matteo?
Matteo Cardinale, IVSA Italy. I want to nominate Tessa von Dunen from IVSA the Netherlands.
Tessa, do you accept?
I accept.
So, the bylaws state outgoing officials or other members with a conflict of interest are the only members not eligible to serve as auditors. Seeing as James does not have a conflict of interest with the past term's budget or financial report, I believe it is in accordance with the bylaws that he gets elected.
Yay! James, do you accept?
Untitled Chapter, I accept.
Are there any other nominations for financial report card auditor? Seeing none, you are elected without a vote. Congratulations and have fun auditing. All right, the chair will now entertain a motion to untable the update on the Federation of Veterinarians of Europe. Tara.
Tara Chesnik, IVSA Slovenia, I so move.
Thank you. Any discussion on untabling this agenda point? Any objections? Seeing none, agenda points untabled. We continue with the presentation on the FVE. If I find it somewhere. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take the floor. Kristen?
Kristen from IVSA Alumni. That was close. So please vote. If you're not voting within 1 minute, we will close the election and you cannot vote anymore. Just keep that in mind.
Thank you. So hi guys, it's me again. So I will now give an update on behalf of the FVE. FVE is very sad they couldn't be here with us. However, it's quite far for them to come to Brazil. Therefore, I will be giving the presentation in their name. So, Federation of Veterinarians of Europe is, of course, a close partner of IVSA. And what the FVE is. So FVE represent over 300,000 veterinarians all over Europe. They have 36 national associations in 38 European countries. And also they are umbrella organization for other subsections they have. There are 4 other organizations that are involved under the FVE umbrella. Organizations representing practitioners, veterinary hygienists, also veterinary state officers, and education, research, and industry sections where IVSA is a member of that section as well. Generally, members of the FVE are national chambers of veterinarians, and this is the mission of the FVE that you can see on the slide. Moving forward, you can see logo of all the sections I have mentioned, covering different veterinary fields. And this is how the FVE structure works. It's pretty similar to IVSA structure, as you can see. The decision-making body is the General Assembly. On top of that, they have board of directors, so like IVSA Exco, and they also have FVE Secretariat that is responsible for conducting all the projects. And members are national or locational veterinary organizations that are appointing delegations to the General Assembly of the FVE. And FVE also has working groups, like we have our standing committees. The main working groups are on animal welfare or medicines, statutory bodies, and also food safety and sustainability working groups. Alright. Moving forward, FVE is an umbrella organization, but it also has a lot of partners because we all know that veterinary medicine is a very multidisciplinary profession. That's why they work, for example, with the European institutions, with policymakers such as the European Commission, and all of those listed on the slide. They work with international organizations from the quadripartite, so with FAO, OIE, WHA at the moment, and WHO. They also work with other NGOs and other partners in different fields of veterinary medicine and public health, and veterinary organizations such as ADMA, WVA, EVE, VECAVA, IVSA is also over there, and many more. Moving forward, General Assembly in London, I have already gave you an update on this event, so you have heard from me about it. They also gave us some nice pictures from the event that happened this June. And then about the mission of the FVE. Of course, the mission is to enhance animal health, animal welfare, public health, and to protect the environment, so One Health approach again, and to promote the veterinary profession. FVE, the same like IVSA, has a 5-year strategic plan, 2021-2025, and the key objectives of the strategic plan is One Health and sustainability. One veterinary community, so basically uniting veterinarians from different fields of our profession under one umbrella, and making sure they communicate well, because as we established yesterday, communication is a key. Also being recognized and influential, also veterinary demography and rewarding careers, to make sure we do not leave our profession after first 3 to 5 years, and embrace technology. Digital technologies is also a very important topic nowadays. And I love this slide. FVE sees veterinary students as the future of our profession, so this is you guys. Therefore, FVE works closely with IVSA by participating in each other's general assemblies, by several joint activities and projects, and we are also part of the EVERY and advise and give our input on the external practical training. Moreover, I would like to thank FVE for allowing IVSA to be registered in their office in Brussels. Thanks to this, we have an official registration office and a little less legal procedures to follow. And then also FVE provides internship opportunities for students. It has been announced lately, the new intern has been already selected, but if you are interested in making your internship at FVE, it is announced every now and then, so please keep an eye on our social media. And this is ECCVT, it's a European Coordination Committee for veterinary training. Me and Tessa, so Tessa is our regional representative for Europe, are members of the ECCVT. We regularly attend their meetings and also give our input on their activities from, of course, the student perspective. And then FVE is working on promoting One Health in veterinary practice. This has been done by several meetings and panel discussions by FVE on this topic. During these panel discussions, they had several different professionals coming together. So there was FVE representing veterinarians, but there were also other organizations representing human medical doctors, dentists, and also pharmacists. And there were also students of respective organizations attending those meetings. I attended one of them that happened in Warsaw in December 2018. That was a while ago. Two of them happened in person, one happened online during the pandemic. And this is of course an ongoing project. If you would like to learn a little more about what have we discussed during those meetings and what were their conclusions, there are publications and you can find them on the FVE website. Moreover, supporting mental health of veterinary students and also DEI, so diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. This is another goal of the FVE. And we had Fiorentina from Utrecht University who was working as FVE intern, and her goal was to work on this objective, so mental health and DEI. She had conducted a review of policy papers and different activities that would tackle the well-being and DEI in the veterinary profession. I'm also happy to say that we had several meetings with Fiorentina about this. She had taken into consideration IVSA survey on discrimination that was conducted by the task force of IVSA, and also included the results of this survey in her publication. And on top of that, we had meetings with the past IVSA wellness chair Natisha and Fiorentina. And have a look at this publication. It's also very interesting if you would like to know more about those results. This is also something that may interest you. FVE is offering scholarship together with the MSD Animal Health. They give 68 scholarships. Each of them is worth 2,500 euros to veterinary students from European schools. But if you're not from Europe, don't worry. There's similar opportunity by WVA, which is covering the scholarship for all the veterinary students from non-European schools. So this is kind of collaboration, but this opportunity is there for European members, and the application will be open soon. We always promote them on IVSA social media, so stay tuned. And then there are also some points that FVE wished to add to our yesterday's panel discussion, because they were really sad they couldn't attend this conversation, but they also are doing a lot in regards to One Health and One Welfare, especially in veterinary education. So there are a couple of conclusions that they decided to list for us, especially highlighting the need to educate students to respect and seek the close collaboration with other veterinary professions, and of course launch and support joint activities to further implement the One Health approach. There are several other conclusions. They can be also found in the publications from the One Health in undergraduate education meetings that I have described to you earlier today. You can read the conclusions on the slide. And this is the third slide, highlighting the need for One Health approach and One Welfare. Moving forward, FVE also puts emphasis in their work on the animal welfare and its implications on the public health. So again, something we tackled yesterday during the panel discussions, and these are some key points FVE would like to add to this. We can also share those conclusions with you later, so you can calmly read it and think about what they are saying. And also animal welfare and its impact on the public health. Rabies. Rabies is a very important topic nowadays, to end rabies by 2030. And we have some examples regarding the antibiotics used in salmon production in Norway. Also very important animal welfare impact on the public health, and AMR, of course. We have some more data on this. And there are another example regarding this topic about avian influenza and also its impact on the public health. And to conclude, animal health and animal welfare and public health are very closely interconnected. I believe we all agreed on this yesterday. One Health is crucial, and veterinarians also play a crucial role in this, which we need to realize. If you would like to read a little more about all those conclusions, I have put on the slides. There's a very interesting policy paper that's now displayed on the slide. Please have a look at it and read it yourself. If you have any questions regarding FVE, feel free to contact Nancy, our lovely contact person, to give an email, or you can also ask me some questions now. I may be able to answer. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Anya regarding the FVE? All right. The chair will now entertain a motion to go into recess for 10 minutes. Allison.
Allison Brown, IVSA, Trinidad and Tobago, I so move.
Hashtag mood. Any discussion on going into recess? We're not in recess yet. Sit your ass down. Any discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, we're in recess. finished everything on the agenda in J1 onwards, so we're moving on to the next agenda point, which is granting candidate member organizations voting rights. There was only one MO present at this GA that would have had the right to now get voting rights. However, they did not attend the full session of the General Assembly, so they will not receive voting rights. The MO I'm talking about is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Any questions on this? Do you guys understand what I just said? Should I explain it again? Susanna?
Susanna Salvatore részéről, yes, please, can you explain again?
Of course. Alright, so IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina is now a candidate MO, which means they do not have the right to vote. MOs in IVSA only they only receive the right to vote after they've attended a full session of the General Assembly. So a full session means not just one meeting, but the entire event we're doing. And they're not allowed to actually miss one of the meetings in between. Unfortunately, they're not here now. They also missed one. Oh, you're there now. You missed one during the event somewhere. GA5. Unless you have proof you were there.
I just said that not in the past, other candidate member organizations have been granting voting rights despite missing solitary parts of the GA meeting. So there is precedent for granting voting rights despite them not attending the full session, but it's up to the discretion of the Executive Committee and the General Assembly as a whole.
Alright, so it turns out you can in fact still get your voting rights if the GA is okay with that. Is there any discussion on IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina getting their voting rights? Lisa?
Lisa Buren, IVSA Netherlands. What is the EXCO opinion on this?
EXCO, an opinion was asked.
So Anna Škivić, IVSA EXCO, I move to grant Bosnia and Herzegovina the voting rights after the General Assembly. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll elaborate now.
You're allowed to deliver.
Okay, Bosnia and Herzegovina missed one General Assembly, therefore we could not give them voting rights. However, the General Assembly is the decision-making body of IVSA, so the decision of General Assembly supersedes the bylaws. So if you guys do decide to anyway grant Bosnia and Herzegovina voting rights despite them missing one session of the General Assembly, we can approve that.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion on granting IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina voting rights? Susanna?
Susanna Salvatore részéről. I think it's a point of information. Has it ever been done in the past? This thing of granting voting, even if the MO was not present at the full session of GA?
Yes, it has happened in the past that the GA it has happened before that the GA still allowed it. Any other discussion on granting IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina voting rights? Tessa? I'll need the microphone because I can't hear you.
Tessa van Duinen, IVSA the Netherlands. I would be interested in knowing why the GA was missed.
I would be interested in that too. Do you want to? You don't have to answer, technically. If you want to, you can, but
IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina, Soraya. So that was 5th. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened, but I think that I didn't miss whole of the GA, that I was late.
Okay. I don't remember this. So, Lisa?
Lisa Buur, IVSA Netherlands. Technically, if the previous speaker is right, it should be noted in the minutes that the presence of the country was later on recognized during GA5.
That is very true. I didn't see them walking. If no one saw them walking, then I didn't acknowledge. The chair didn't acknowledge them coming in late. However, that does not exclude the fact that they walked in late, because if no one saw them walk in late, and I just didn't recognize them, that's also a possibility.
Jovana, IVSA Serbia. I think that day we had like 2 GAs, and like GA lunch and GA. We missed the first GA, but came later on the second.
Okay. Noted. Any other discussion on granting IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina the right to vote? Anya?
I'm security IVSA EXCO. I moved to go to 2 minutes recess.
Would you rather stand at ease?
Yes, I moved to stand at ease for 2 minutes.
Any discussion on standing at ease?
Just a brief explanation to check the minutes as requested by the previous speaker.
Any objection? Any other discussion? Any objection? We're at ease.
I have a job to do. I'll just give it to Nelson. I don't want to run. I'm tired. Huh?
I'm not an official.
I get it off of it.
Calling the GA back to order at 10:57 a.m. Brazil time. We're no longer at ease. Is there any more discussion on granting IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina voting rights? Fonda.
Vanda Tošić, IVSA Croatia. I think that we should give them voting rights, especially because there was in past times when we give voting rights to people that weren't on all the GAs, especially because they were not present only on one GA, and I think there are some personal reasons behind it, so I don't think that we should be so strict about it because we were so strict before, so yeah.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any more discussion from maybe a speaker that hasn't spoken yet? Is there any discussion on the motion of granting IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina the right to vote from someone that hasn't spoken yet? Alison?
Alison Brown, IVSA Trinidad and Tobago. I also agree that we should give them voting rights because they've been active throughout the entire GA session. From what they have said, they attended the second half of GA5. Obviously, it's not ideal. You would have hoped that they would have attended the full session, but given that they've been active, it's technically 1 out of 7, which isn't bad. I feel like we could be lenient in their in giving them the voting rights in this case.
Okay, thank you very much. Constantina?
Constantina disagrees, and I agree with what Crystal said. And if I'm correct, they're delegates for the Congress or Symposium. That shows that they're active and they do want to do things, so why not supporting them all, since they're here and they're trying.
Yes, thank you. Noted. Any other discussion on granting IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina voting rights?
Anna Zdzikiewicz, IVSA Exco, just to answer the previously raised question, there's no record of Bosnia and Herzegovina speaking at the General Assembly in the minutes.
Any other discussion? All right. Soraya?
IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina, Soraya. So actually that was the first day of nomination and Lauren saw me. I was in front and do you remember? And it started earlier, 10 minutes earlier.
Daniel, thank you for your comment.
Daniel Lund, IVSA Denmark, I moved the previous question.
Thank you. We just moved the previous question. Do you also remember what moving the previous question is? Did we get a second? Thank you. All right, moving the previous question means someone has had enough of this discussion and wants to go straight to a vote.
Today.
All right, so moving the previous question means if there are no objections to moving the previous question, we go straight to a vote on the motion that's on the floor. So, does everyone get what we're doing now? I'm gonna now open discussion on moving the previous question. If you guys wanna continue discussing this, then you need to, you can explain it or you can object to it when I ask for any objections. That means we're gonna continue discussing the matter further. If there are no objections, we're gonna move the previous question and we're gonna go straight to voting on granting the voting rights. Is there any more discussion on moving the previous question? Are there any objections? Seeing none, the discussion is moved. We're going to go straight to voting on granting IVSA Bosnia-Herzegovina voting rights. Does everyone have their cards, their voting cards? If you do not have your voting cards, please raise your hand and come up. Do you remember what I said last time? Your country is supposed to buy me a beer now. Every one of you. Can you come up? Okay, so 2 countries. Please wait here.
Yeah, stand on the chair. Look at the chair and says,
Are there more cards where you came from? Are there more stacks of cards where you came from? Alright, countries, you up here front, you can go sit down. I'm just going to do it another way because I don't want to wait anymore. Alright, there are no more cards. You've used up all of them. We're going to go to a roll call vote. Bingo! Look at them. Alright, so what's going to happen now, Nelson is going to call up all of the MOs. You have actual bingo? Okay. Oh, James does as well. No. You lied. You have bingo. you can come up to me later, and then we'll discuss it. Now I need to think about this vote first. So what we're going to do, Nelson's going to call off each MO. If your MO is called, you either say 2 yays, 2 nays, 1 yay, 1 nay, or abstain somewhere in between. A combination of 3 possibilities. It's basically the green, red, and no cards, but in words. Yes, it should be easy enough. Is it clear for everyone? Do you guys have questions on the roll call vote? Ali?
Ali Kushwar, IVSA alumni. I just want to ask the same question again. Can you repeat what you just said?
Of course, I can repeat everything. So, our roll call vote is Nelson's going to call up all of the MOs one by one. After your MOs being called, you say 1 yay, 1 nay, 2 yays, 2 nays, or you just say abstain. Or 1 yay, 1 abstain. However you want to vote. We're going to do that instead of the cards. Okay, Nelson. The reason we're waiting now is because they're still figuring out how to count the votes.
IVSA Belgium, IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina, IVSA Brazil,
Can we please say yes and no? That's okay, because yay and yay are the same word, but it's Now we just say yes and no, please, okay?
Okay.
IVSA Colombia,
2 yes.
IVSA Croatia,
2 yeses.
IVSA Czech Republic,
2 yes.
IVSA Denmark,
2 yeses.
IVSA Egypt,
2 yes.
IVSA France,
2 yes.
IVSA Germany,
2 yes.
IVSA Greece,
2 yeses.
IVSA Indonesia,
2 yes.
IVSA Ireland,
2 yeses.
IVSA Italy,
1 yes and 1 no.
IVSA Latvia,
2 yes.
IVSA Mexico,
2 yes.
IVSA Peru,
2 yes.
IVSA Philippines,
2 yes.
IVSA Serbia,
2 yes.
IVSA Slovenia,
2 yes.
IVSA South Africa, IVSA South Korea, IVSA Switzerland,
2 yes.
IVSA Taiwan,
2 yeses.
IVSA the Netherlands,
2 yeses.
IVSA Trinidad and Tobago,
2 years.
IVSA Tunisia,
2 yeses.
IVSA Uganda,
2 yeses.
IVSA UK,
3 yeses.
IVSA USA.
2 yeses.
All right. Do you have the results? Out of 54 votes, we have 53 yes and 1 abstain.
No, 1 no.
1 no, 0 abstains. This means, IVSA Bosnia and Herzegovina, it means the motion passes. You now have voting rights. The chair will now entertain a motion to go into recess. Wanda? Any discussion on going into recess? We're already 40 minutes late with this session of with this part of the GA today. We still have international stands coming up, and then lunch. And then after lunch, we're coming back, and we still get to do the election results and AUB. Is there any more discussion on going into recess now? Any objections? We're in recess. Please sit down.